back over here with the Infinity warm-up. It's November 19th, 2017. How the fuck are you, Trey?
Already? November 19th? Good Lord.
I know, right? It's Thanksgiving's next week. That's why we have to do this before, so hopefully it gets launched by then. That'd be cool. Hopefully it'll be on iTunes by then.
Heyo, there's a start. Look at that with a wider audience.
I did the submission, and it should, I don't remember how long it takes. It might take a week or something like that, but I should get a notification, and then we'll find out, and we'll subscribe to it on iTunes, and then we'll have 2 subscribers.
You gotta build an audience somewhere. Yeah, we took a week off. At this point, they're going to release more movies than we are podcasts. It's kind of embarrassing.
That's a good point, because I've been seeing a lot of my share of movies now that I have that movie pass, motherfucker.
Proud of you. And what did you use it on this recently?
I went and saw the Justice League.
Yes. I have not seen Justice League, and I have no intention to see Justice League, but I have read and watched all the spoilers for Justice League. So I know, or rather, I shouldn't say I know. The consensus seems to be that it's nowhere near as bad as Batman v Superman. Did you watch that movie?
I saw Batman it once through. Superman?
Yeah. Did you, like me, find it awful and unwatchable? Martha, did you think it was the worst?
Was that that was the name of both their parents, right?
Something like that. Exactly.
I saw it once.
In fact,
I thought it was okay. I mean, I didn't fall asleep and walk out, but it didn't really merit a second watch. And there's a part in here that I kind of had to remember from Batman Superman, and I was like, I forgot Wonder Woman was in it. I was like, how the fuck
up at the end. They play
she's in more of than that, but still, it's like I don't remember it that much. It wasn't all that memorable for me. Once they switched Batman, I don't know that they switched. I don't think Nolan had some part in it, but I don't know that he was the director. Pretty sure he wasn't. But
no, it's all been Zack Snyder is in control of the DC universe, and some sad tragedy with his family caused him to leave during post-production, or I guess midway through filming, and Joss Whedon, the director of the Avengers, finished the editing, and I do believe he did all the reshoots on the film as well.
Well, I'll tell you that Danny Elfman did all the sound, so that's cool.
Right.
Cool because they did that for I don't know. I like the old Batman movies, and I think Elfman did 2 of the old Batman movies, right? The first 2?
Oh, I wouldn't know. Honestly, only thing DC is the Batman animated series is what I stick with. I'm traditionally just...
I know exactly how you feel, and that's why I was hating on the fact, spoiler alert, that how they portrayed Batman. Because it was like, they're still trying to get me to believe that Ben Affleck is Batman, and that's what it is this whole time. It's not that he is Batman and does Batman thing. They're just like, the whole voyage of me watching the movie, he's looking at me going, I am Batman. You understand? And I'm just like, nah, I don't know. I think someone else is doing this shit, and he's just taking credit for it.
Well, I think the gist of this is he's trying to be the older, grittier Batman from the Dark Knight Rises series.
It kind of seems like that, because I don't know which other way they could go with him, because it doesn't seem like there's not much that sticks out about him that's like, oh shit, like he's this kind of Batman, or he, like, other than the fact that he doesn't want you to know what he sounds like. So instead of doing that whole, he chops up his own throat, they have the speaker sound behind him. But I don't know. I guess past it just being a tough pill to swallow, it was like, I saw like 2 repetitive scenes where like he just jumped and landed in front of the villain, and I was just like, wait a minute. Like they had like this off to the side shot so you could see everything happen. This dude's running away. Instead of just like catching him from a certain angle, he just lands in front like, ha! I'm Batman, bitch! Every time you run, I'm gonna be right in front. Like, all right, well, that's predictable. You know what I'm saying? Isn't that how someone died in that Wolverine movie?
I mean, most assuredly. Or knee injuries.
Sabretooth killed that motherfucker, right?
What was the inciting incident for getting the team together? Did they handle that well? Like, it's Batman recruiting everybody?
Yeah, they already had like a suspicion of an alien invasion. I guess they just used Superman. They were like, well, people have been waiting for the alien invasion since Superman. Like, we can't just... What do you think the odds are of just one alien coming over here? It's like, well, he was here for like 30 years without saying shit, and all of a sudden now we know he exists. But some bad guy came in. His name is like Steppenwolf.
Steppenwolf, yeah. Apparently he's the harbinger of Darkseid. The guy blowing the trumpet for the big baddie's arrival.
It seemed like
was he any good as a villain?
Yeah, I guess so. He was super strong. It was kind of fun to watch him like go toe to toe with Superman and whatnot.
Okay.
There was a couple. The one thing I always got to be on the side of the DC comic universe and whatnot when they make movies is like they really are good at emphasizing the night, like the way it looks on film. It's like, well, I don't know. It's like it's kind of like how cool it was to watch Sin City. Like remember how they didn't really show you color in a lot of the scenes?
Oh yeah, they got the Instagram filters on point. Okay.
Well, they not just be like such an easy filter, but like the nightfall be like kind of this darkish blue, black, and then the angle they got the camera versus like what's on the city street. It's like, this is a cool place. I don't want to be here, but I do like seeing it on camera. It does look pretty badass.
So they're still going like dark and gritty? Because I heard that it's suffused with a little more humor this time around, specifically with the Flash.
100% with the Flash. Everything else is dark. Cyborg cannot stand himself. He thinks he's a freak of nature.
He's definitely a freak of nature.
Kind of, yeah.
Okay. The Flash, Aquaman, and Cyborg were they anything worth watching? I keep hearing so much different things about Aquaman, and I'm really because Aquaman's going to be the next movie in the DC extended universe. How is Underwater World?
Can I ruin something really quick? One thing please. I could not stand. I caught it right away, right? Because it happened at the beginning of the movie. There's this one scene where they try to talk to each other underwater, and this one lady does this thing where she just removes all the water from like a certain area, so it's just like a pocket with air, and everybody starts talking.
Now, is that how they communicate all the time?
That's what it looks like, because nobody said a word underwater. I was so weirded out by that. I was just like, do you understand? He's just like, well, they're underwater. And I was like, do you understand that they talk underwater just fine? Just fine. I don't. We as humans don't. But Aquaman talks underwater just fine.
Huh. So every time
is it just me? That's...
Well, I mean, it's easy to do in comic books. You just don't even have to act like I mean, it's all printed text on a panel, so I've never seen a depiction of two characters.
When you're making comic books, you still have to stick with certain things. So, like, if they're in another country and they're speaking another language, you got to put those
then you put the italics on it or whatever. But I mean, like, even in honestly, the closest thing I could think of is Star Wars, like Episode 2, I guess, with Jar Jar Binks, and they're down there talking to his Gorgon, whatever, his kinfolk.
You're losing
and they all have the they have a giant air bubble where the air bubble goes around the whole city. So I guess what I'm asking is, every time a native of the underwater world talks to another native, they go air bubble. So they breathe air?
No. It's not exactly what I was saying. The thing is because there's no... It was like I said, I didn't know the movie was over when it was over. It was 2 hours, and it was just because they had to include so much shit. It was hard to include a lot when you're going over 6 superheroes.
Yeah. It's almost like
a lot of scenes. So
they could have benefited from using an individual movie for each person.
I don't know about that. We're gonna let time tell. Maybe the next Justice League movie knocks you on your ass. I don't know. They have 2 years to make it. I guess. But there was one scene where like someone had to go get some shit underwater. It was that one Stephen Curry guy, whatever. What was it?
Right.
Stephen
Best
Wolf,
3-point shooter in the league. All right.
So
just balling out on
Stephen Wolf.
Superman.
He had one of these boxes he was looking for was underwater in Atlantis, and like, what's his name? Aquaman wasn't there at the time. He was actually on his way back. So we kind of caught him in like the action. He was like, what the fuck? And it was kind of cool to see him fight underwater because that's what I wanted to see. But no one was saying.
Pulled it off?
He had a little fight scene with him, yeah.
Huh.
It's basically.
I feel like you're glossing over that. It's literally been tripping me out since they announced the film. How are they going to do anything underwater? How fast do they move?
Yeah, that's the thing is that it's okay. I suppose you're finding interest in these different fields than I am. Okay, so kind of when it came down to the water, it's like it's what you would think. It's like okay, well Hercules underwater is faster than Jabril underwater, but he's still not as fast as Hercules above water.
So are we talking like Mario 64 where they're like just swimming away from giant fish?
Well, like
pace?
He moves insane underwater, Aquaman, but as soon as it comes to fighting, it's like superpower beings underwater. So like even if you got thrown really far, like you would still only be like water distance, so like you'd come right back.
Okay.
But
does he have like web feet or something? Is he rocking flippers? Like how's he doing this?
Like when he's walking around on land, he's bipedal, and when he goes underwater, it seems like nothing changes. He has like a wetsuit for this bottom half.
Like merman status?
No, it's a wetsuit for his bottom half. He just has the bottom, the wet up, ankle to waist. He has a wetsuit.
Okay. Okay.
But yeah, as soon as cause he, that Clifton guy or whatever came to steal the box, and then this bitch was like, "Oh shit, I'm defending it. I need to fight him." No audio at all. Audio, whatever the fuck. Yeah, nobody was talking. They washed
out the sound? That's cool.
Yeah, nobody was talking. It was just underwater, and it was just like, okay. And then, this one lady did this one thing where she tried to remove all the area from some shit. I don't know what happened, and they did it again. I guess it looked a little bit different the second time, and then there was just this big pocket of, "Hey, you guys wanted to talk?" This guy in the back, he had his hand up. "Hey, go ahead and, yeah, you had your hand up earlier. I thought you wanted to talk." Well, don't put it down now. I opened this fucking bubble for people like you, okay? Just fucking stand up and talk.
See, I'm honestly interested in going to see it just for that, because I wonder how that, do you think you could take 2 hours of the city of Atlantis?
Dude,
that make for a good movie?
I would love to see it. I just don't know. It's one of those things where it's like, all right, well, it's an origin movie. Who's the villain? Who are his villains? Is it like a pack of wild sharks? Just band together, just tagging up the area, just spray painting? Or maybe just be a bunch of octopi just putting ink all over the area. Hey, I told you guys you can't do that shit over here no more. Get the fuck back.
I do imagine there's a bunch of interesting things you can do with that, but I mean, you got to be imaginative. That seems beyond me. Well, so who are the baddies they're going after other than Steppenwolf? I mean, you got 6 guys. What are we fighting?
Oh, well, they kind of went into that at the end. They're doing the total Marvel thing where there's 13 after credit scenes. Ugh. And they started to go into that. And if you don't mind the spoilers, it had something to do with Flex Luger.
Are you trying to pig Latin me?
Yes.
Okay, because that's not how you do it. But what's Flex? Or
no, not exactly pig Latin, but I mean, sounds like Flex Luger.
All right. What's he up to? Wait, he's not in the movie at all?
No, not.
So
it's
just
very end. No.
So it's Steppenwolf going after Infinity Stones.
He keeps saying something about I like how we're just going only into this movie. He keeps saying something about that mothership, mother, and then it's just like, what the fuck is it? And then he mentions Darkseid. He's trying to collect these boxes, and then I guess he was just supposed to release it at that point once he got them all to collect them together. But he's super strong on his own, and he releases this weird bug type army that's attracted to fear.
Parademons, right?
I don't fucking know. Don't ask me.
You just watched the thing.
I don't give a shit. I was too busy trying to understand why when Flash moves, everything just electrifies.
It's because he's super fast, yo. What about the physics on...
No. You don't... Okay, you know what that means, Trey? That means you always know when Flash is around.
Is that it?
That's what that means.
How
you don't always know when Flash is around. He's fucking fast as fuck. He can take off without you knowing because he's the Flash. He doesn't just... It's every time I use my power, I fart, and then you just know I'm there. It's like, damn, every time.
But true, every time I see Flash depicted on screen, you got to slow everybody else down and have him moving in regular speed. Really, that's the only way to depict fast characters, like the Quicksilver montage in X-Men.
Yeah.
Did they do that with Flash? I mean, really, that's the only thing I could think of. So did his powers look cool? Was he helpful? Did he just push people and run away?
Not nearly as helpful as he could be. He's totally like, have you watched any of the Young Justice cartoons or comics or whatever?
Sorry.
Okay, well, I did. And there's this character they invented called Kid Flash. And his name is, not his name. He's like nephew to Barry. So somehow he has the power. But like what it is like, okay, let's take a trip back. Do you remember Tiny Toons?
Yes.
Do you remember how one of them was just Bugs Bunny, but he was just tiny?
Yeah, Buster.
Buster Bunny. All right, so it's like Kid Flash is like the Flash, but like he can only run it up to like maybe like 1,000 miles an hour. It's like there's a limit that's like, wow, that's really fast, but it's nothing like the Flash. Like,
all right, so the sound barrier.
If you can beat the speed of light, like if I can run 2,000 miles an hour, it's just like, I don't give a fuck. I don't give one shit. You can't hang with me. You just sit here and hang out. You guys can beat up on teenagers and whatnot. And he would constantly be tripping over himself, at least at the beginning. So it's pretty annoying to watch because like he's one of my favorite characters because he's so broken because he's that fast. And they kept kind of showing how it was like, okay, well, Superman's kind of fast too.
Yeah. Well, yeah. He's pretty much just as fast as the Flash, I think.
Yeah, well, you know what's funny is they mentioned what's that realm called that he creates when he runs so fast? It makes him like invincible.
Speed Force, I want to say.
Yeah, something like that. He kind of mentioned it while he was like going into Batman's Batmobile. But otherwise, that makes him seem like he's not just a run around fast kind of guy. Like he can see fast. That means you can make decisions before people can actually act on them. It's like...
Yeah. All the amenities that come with being fast. Yeah, if you just saw normal speed while you're moving at the speed of light, shit's going to go bad for you, man.
Well, no, okay. Like, but I don't mean... He's not like just seeing fast if he's running fast. Like, he could be standing there in conversation with you and just be watching things happen. Like someone could be sneaking up on him and he'll see it way before anyone else does.
Yeah, they had a cool bit in some X Factor comic book that I was reading where Quicksilver is just blazing through books because his eyes, like, you know how you take your thumb and just flip through a book?
Yeah.
Well, he was reading it as he was doing that and just discarding them, picking another book up off the pile. Honestly, he really should be the smartest man in the world if that's the case, but... Yeah,
that's true, too. Well, I mean, only if he can absorb all of it.
Yeah,
he could just be like boring, just a Bart Simpson, boring.
So Superman is in this then? How did
they really are we? I mean, honestly, are we doing the Justice League podcast? Because this is going to be terrible. Only I saw it, and this is not the title I thought was.
No. We're just talking. I'm telling you all about the Punisher when we're done with this. So
okay,
we got time before we make it to Thor.
I like how we're just.
And I have no intention on watching this. I refuse to give them any more of my money.
Well, they spent most of the movie. He was still dead. Even though at the end of Batman vs Superman, you could see some like rocks floating. As so if,
what?
Like,
he just like burst out of his casket or something?
No, it didn't quite make sense to me. It was like something about these boxes Homeboy was chasing around. I don't know if they had a fourth one or if it was similar, but something about if we drop Superman's body in the water, like with this box, and we conduct an electrical currents, he'll come back to life. And then Flash is like, I can conduct electricity.
All right.
So he ran and jumped and like touched it as it hit the water, and then he just like Superman was reborn, but he was kind of a monster at first.
They resurrected him?
Yeah.
Wait, he didn't like? I thought they had like the sand coming off the casket at the last one.
No, he didn't do shit himself. It kind of just seemed like he was in a coma.
Oh.
But like they had to wake him up.
Wake him up? No, he's dead. He's not Jesus. He's dead.
He's kind of. I mean, yeah, he's dead. Like, what's his name? What's that? What's his equivalence in Marvel? That he's like a weird psychotic character.
You lost me. There's plenty of. Thor is the next. Marvel.
You would
Superman.
think so, but no, he's not Superman.
Yeah, okay, you're right. The Sentry?
Yes.
Okay.
What are we talking about?
We're talking about desecrating the corpse of Superman.
How many times has Sentry died and just came back? Like, that's what I mean. It's kind of like he looks. Oh, I thought we just killed him, right? Like, did you read any of the comics with him in it? Like, he was killed multiple times. Like, what's his name? Molecule Man, like, disassembled him, like, molecule by molecule. And he just, like, came back, was like, that was weird. Oh, I just killed him. What?
Yeah, the Sentry is incredibly broken.
Superman, yeah. He was, I mean, I didn't understand it either, but it was like he was dead, but he wasn't going to come out of his comatose thing on his own. Okay. So they resurrected him, but, like, not like that one guy in Batman who resurrects people, who brought back Robin and shit like that, you know. What's his name?
So, like, legit dark ritual, like Melisandre Jon Snow status, where they all
they dug up his
seance
body
over his body. They dug up his corpse, like legit shovels.
Yeah, it was Cyborg
Why
and
did
Flash.
they need him so badly?
It was because the alien invasion, and they were like, Batman didn't believe in himself anymore. Plus, no one knows how badass he is. Like, and it's hard to prove. I guess it was like they know that people can stand behind Superman because of the things you see him doing. It's like when Flash and Superman saved a bunch of people from like a burning building, whatever it was. Flash like saved like a person, and like Superman like flew away with like a building in his hands. And he was just like, he felt so small, like he was just like, it was, oh my god.
Yeah, he makes 5/6 of the Justice League redundant because Superman
and that's
is a
what
broken
I was trying to explain
person.
to my buddy too. Is like, there's something about flying. I get it that you can't explain how Rogue can just fly, but try to. Just what muscle is she using to fly? Because I need to
Kegel exercises, Jabril. You flex and you take off.
I need to understand how you could just fly faster. How does that work? And do you get tired of flying? How does that work? Because this is very important, because not only can Hulk pick up the equivalent building that Superman had, but Superman flew away with it. There's a difference from I picked it up to a bird just picked me up and just flew away with me.
Okay.
It's like, god damn, dude, this guy flew away with like a 2-ton building. Who knows?
So I'm sorry, does Superman immediately join their side? You said he was like broken for a bit.
They fight him all at first. Like, they don't know what's happening. He just kind of gets
resurrected. He's legit angry. Whatever afterlife he got yanked out of, he's back on Earth and he's pissed. But that's
typically what happens. That's what they did to Robin when he came back, right?
Yeah,
you just come back from the dead, you're a bad guy.
Undead
right?
zombie. If you come
back from the dead and you were killed, your first thing normally they show in movies is what? Revenge, right?
Oh yeah, establishing how you died and all that jazz.
It's something about we got to undo what happened before, but there's no undoing it. Let's just make it worse. It was their fault. Like, he flew away and he flew into this building and he was just like, man, trying to think about some shit like minutes after they woke him up. And then the Justice League, all but Batman, just show up. Like, there's 4 of them and they show up in like a wave, like, we're all looking at you and we're going to come at you. And he's just like, well, come at me, bro. Like, I'll whoop the shit out of all you. And Wonder Woman's like, nah, we know you, or I know you, kinda. Remember that one movie we were in last time? I was in that one. Where's Batman? And Batman's the guy who basically dropped everybody off, and he's just like, I can't go in there. And then it's like, we can't get him without you, Batman.
Or, I don't, it seems like they're all doomed. But either way. Yeah, it seems like you're higher on it than you are Batman v Superman. Was it a decent watch?
Well,
do you recommend that I break my embargo and go watch it?
Well, and like, okay, so one of the things they did in this movie was it was kind of like they jumped through important things that that you would go over in an origin story, like the scene where Batman met like Aquaman, it seemed like this was going to take a long time. He didn't have Superman on his side. So when you see the cartoon movies that take about an hour to do, the DC Justice League ones, I've seen all of them, at least the last 10 years or whatever. Like, so when you see those, it's just like they show up, and it's kind of like someone who's already a decently known superhero. It's kind of like, look, you're not hiding out here like Green Lantern. Like, why don't you come just join us? We've seen you before, just yada yada. But like, so Batman goes all by himself to go, like, and Aquaman's kind of hiding in plain sight as someone who's not king, but like maybe someone who's like the friend of the king or some shit. So he has someone like speaking in for him, and like Batman knows, but it's still like it's this situation where he wants to beat you up because you know too much, and Batman's just like,
oh yeah,
like,
yeah. So
he has to
they
kind
have
of
like a
fight him off for a
Batman
second.
Aquaman fight scene or
No,
something?
they don't. It looks like they're going to, and then the next scene, he's like, Batman just ends it with, he just goes, "I hear you can talk to fish," and then like he just goes, like, the next scene, he's like, "Hey, well, I didn't know you knew this, Batman, so yada yada," and then he like jumps in the water and like goes away. He goes, "Good luck with your superhero thing. I don't really want to join it," yada yada, and just leaves. It seemed like there was a lot more they cut out to just, I don't know, just they cut too much important shit to get to that scene. There should have been more that happened.
Yeah, according to some production stuff, they had a mandate that they had to keep this one under 2 hours. So apparently when the director cut comes out, they're going to have a lot of things that fill in the gap that regard.
Is it just money? Because how come Lord of the Rings gets 3 hours?
No, I don't know why they forced them to keep it under 2 hours, but they did.
All right, well, I just have a question. I'm sure you don't know, but if they wanted to increase the screen time to 3 hours to include more, it's just money would be the block, right? Like, it's...
No, this movie had more money than God to play around with, but...
What the fuck? Dude,
What, you wanted to sit in the theater for 4+ hours?
It should have been a longer movie. Even the Avengers, like 2 hours, like, that's minimal. You know what I'm saying? Like...
Well, yeah, I agree, and especially since they're trying to gather up 6 people who all come from individual backgrounds that you probably need to know about before coming into this.
And since we only met 2 of them,
I
wouldn't call. Okay, no, I guess Wonder Woman would have been the third. You're right. Yeah,
something like that. It's doable. Guardians of the Galaxy did it. Spent 2 hours bringing up 6 people that you can
see. That's where the difference. That's where the difference lies. Guardians of the Galaxy, not one of those people are that successful on their own.
Yeah, but neither are Aquaman and Cyborg.
I'm sorry? Aquaman?
Yeah, you're right.
He can't talk to the sea?
He's a bona fide meme at this point, but...
it's like he's okay, so in the Marvel universe, they have him as Namor, and he's technically, I don't know if he's a mutant or what, but they have their own kingdom. They don't even like coming to shore. Like, they're like, look, fuck you guys, stop throwing trash down here, right? And stop coming down here looking for fish.
Tired of pulling ducks out of soda cans.
God damn it.
All that stuff. Yeah.
Like Namor is like, okay, I don't know where he lies like strength wise. I know he's pretty damn strong, but to be like Prince of Atlantis or whatever the fuck it is, you speak for the ocean basically. Just like, I think you could be a little bit stronger.
Water. I'm sorry for harping on Aquaman so much, but what does he do outside of outside or away from water? Is he any good? Does he just walk
he's
around
super
with a trident?
Okay, that's the thing is this movie really reminded me a lot of what I'd seen in the cartoons before. It I thought I don't want to say they followed it all that well, but it seemed pretty. It seemed what I expected from the movie. Superman was easily the strongest man on screen. Now, even though Wonder Woman's fucking crazy, you could see the differences of what he could do that she couldn't. They were trying to kind of make some comparisons. Same thing with Aquaman. Dude's strong as fuck as well, but just it's nothing like Superman. That doesn't mean he couldn't kill him if he needed to. I don't know what's up with that pitchfork of his, but it's probably got some kind of magical powers attached to it. But as far as like a fisticuffs fight, like no, you know. Well, I always thought Wonder Woman, like, she's like a female equivalent of Superman, and kind of.
Yeah,
she can't
a demigod. So every depiction of a demigod you've ever seen on film or television.
When they do underwater missions, they have to exclude Wonder Woman.
Why?
She can't. It's like, I mean, unless they give people shit to breathe through, it's like the people that can go underwater are Superman, like Cyborg, Aquaman. I don't know about Martian Manhunter, but like maybe the Green Lantern. Like I don't think Green Lantern would, but like Wonder Woman.
You can't just air bubble everybody. Have Batman do Batman voice underwater.
I'm saying, well, I've seen a few DC or whatever Justice League movies before where they had to go underwater to go talk to someone, and everyone wanted to go, but it was just like, okay, well, it wasn't even just like a. It was like, how dangerous is it going to be for you to be this low and just have a bubble around your head? Like, that's all. Once the bubble bursts, what now?
Are you saying water pressure is a thing? Not
Superman,
good for you?
It doesn't fucking matter. It's like you can fly through space. You're not going to drown him, but it seems like you can drown Wonder Woman. So there's one difference. I think he's stronger than her, but he also has powers she don't. Like, she has like those things on her wrist where she can deflect almost anything, but she can't shoot shit out of her eyes. No. She can't freeze with her breath, and she's not nearly as fast as he is. God damn it, he's fast.
Okay. So yeah, other than being super strong on land, can he like summon like a fish from the closest spot, like an angelfish, to like slap somebody in the eye, like hop out of like a goldfish jar?
It didn't seem like it. I think, and that's where he just kind of hung out around the coastline.
Okay, yeah, that's my beef with him. Like, it seems,
you know what?
Once you put him in Nevada, he's not that much of a superhero.
You know what? It's kind of like if Pokemon was real and you had like a Squirtle, and it's just like, he's been out in the sun for too long.
Okay,
we have to we don't have any battles outside of the water.
So on the whole, how the movie fare? Do you recommend I watch it just to know what I'm talking about?
Why wouldn't you, man? Come on, in this age.
I'm pretty happy with my Marvel bias. You know, I don't think I need.
Well,
I don't think I need to spend money on that.
Here's the thing: I'm not saying you have to watch it right now. I'm not saying you have to watch it in the big screen.
When it makes it to HBO, I will definitely watch it.
Right. Maybe when you can watch more than one at once. That's one thing that still gets me is I don't like watching like drama shows. Like if Dexter was still on, like one episode at a time. I hate that. Next week, I'm just like, fuck. No, I want to watch like 3 at once. I want to do the same thing with movies, but I can't fucking wait. But you know what? Ultimately, we're doing a podcast where we're like episode 4 out of 13. Like there's a lot to go.
17.
And that's just MCU. I mean, if we wanted, we could talk about X-Men. You know, a friend of mine at work was saying something about or someone else was telling me Disney was trying to buy Fox.
Yeah. And apparently that fell through already, but it would bring the X-Men over into the Marvel franchise. But I think they want Sony more than they want Fox, because they want to pull Fantastic Four into the MCU.
Oh God. Here's why I don't want the first part to happen, the former.
Well, also monopolies are bad. I think it's good to start with that, but go on.
Fine, Trey. Okay? Telling you my point of view, not everyone's point of view.
Disney's nice. I'm super happy for them.
Well, the monopoly, it's definitely related to it 100%, so, good call. But because of the monopoly part, let's say the word monopoly one more time. 2 more times, monopoly. What I don't like is Disney. Here's what I don't like is the Avengers movies. When I saw Thor a second time, I was kind of thinking it was kind of boring in a sense. Like the second time through, I had a point where I just kind of started falling asleep. I was like, I already saw this, so it's kind of like I'm not missing out. And there was entertaining parts, and I saw what I wanted to re-see. But a lot of what they're showing on film is just kind of entertaining, and is kind of a sidestep from what I'm looking for. You mentioned that part before. I think about Thor throwing like the ball at the glass window and hitting him in the back of the head. Funny, but not necessarily necessary at all.
Yeah. They leaned heavy on the comedy. And
how much money did it take to make that scene? It's like a Super Bowl commercial. Like, you're wasting my fucking time. You understand how expensive this shit is? And if that happens to
coming
Deadpool,
around to my side, then that's what I'm scared of.
Yeah, Deadpool was rated R.
And you can't.
Was Logan.
Now, here's the thing. Disney seems to be letting Marvel off the hook in some regards, especially in the realm of television. The Defenders, and now I just recently binged all of Punisher that came out this last weekend. Strongly recommend you watch that. It's absolutely incredible.
Why? Oh, man. Really? What's incredible about him?
John Bernthal, the guy who plays Frank Castle, the Punisher, is perfect for the role. He's the dude from Walking Dead, plays Sean, and he has this like psychotic like head bobble thing when he's getting worked up, and that alone is worth the price of admission. And it's incredibly dark. Like, they deal with PTSD from extended stays in the military and all manner of just blowing people's head off and violent, bloody glory. And it's a Disney Marvel property, but you can tell that Disney is incredibly hands-off on how many people are getting limbs blown off. So, in that regard, I'm kind of
okay. Yeah, I didn't think about that.
Willing to let Disney take over the reins of Sony just to bring Fantastic Four back home where they belong in the Marvel Universe.
Why? But, I feel like I was trying to touch on something earlier by saying that they wouldn't last as standalone characters. Talk about it. Fantastic fucking Four. I was just watching the Spider-Man cartoon earlier because I have nothing better to do right before bed.
Okay.
Like classic 90s one.
Whoa,
like
like
Hulu.
90s stuff?
Yeah. Well, because
we're like golden age of television, man. You don't gotta go back to the 90s.
No, I don't like. No, I'm one of those guys who doesn't like anything when it's fresh, when it's new.
Same. Bob's Burgers is on too.
No, I'm good. Archers. I'll wait for season 9 or whatever. God damn it. Okay, so yeah, there was the episode where they do the Secret War. Okay. And it's like they call it, like, I want Captain America here, Iron Man, the Fantastic Four. Like, that's right, because you can't call one of them. You can't just call one of them and have them be helpful on their own, which is weird because a lot of them are super badass.
Yeah,
and Sue Storm is insane. Reed Richards so fucking smart. Can we talk about that for a second? Do you know about his son?
Yeah. They were in Gen X together. I shouldn't say together. Both of his kids, Valerie the girl, and what's the name of his son?
Is it Nate?
Yeah, whatever. No,
Nate Gray. I'm sorry.
He's responsible, at least in the comics, for creating that pocket reality that got rid of all the Avengers for a long period of time. I don't think he started the age. No, he did not start the Age of Apocalypse, but he definitely killed all the superheroes for like 3 years.
God damn.
Or at least contained them in like an orb in his pocket for a while.
This guy can single-handedly take out Thanos. Am I wrong?
I mean, he's something broken, but it's been forever since I've read a Fantastic Four comic, so I don't know the extent of how insane that kid is. But yeah, he does something with the fabric of space and time. That's kind of weird.
That's why I'm giving Reed Richards props on that shit, because otherwise, like, his power is pretty cool, like, being able to stretch, but, like, if he weren't super brilliant, like, I don't give a fuck about your stretch ability. It's not, it's cool for what it can do, but it's like, I'd rather have Sue. I'd rather be Sue Storm. Are you kidding me?
Oddly, the Fantastic Four member that has the most play outside of the Fantastic Four is Ben Grimm. Like, it was the Hulk who was modeled after the success of Fantastic Four and subsequently the Thing. They just kind of re-upped and made a green version of the Thing for the Hulk.
Didn't they come out almost around the same time though?
I mean, yeah, everything kind of popped up out of the '60s at the same time, but
How could you tell?
Fantastic Four, Marvel's first family, they were definitely first before the Hulk.
But see, even X-Men came out like that same exact time. And Spider-Man, it was like, it's hard.
I mean,
I don't know which came out first. I thought they were all at the same time. Just 62. We got Spider-Man, Fantastic
First of all,
Four.
it was pretty much all Jack Kirby and Stan Lee, so there were months. I mean, they were just Adderall style cranking out characters at the time, so it's in the same 5 to 10 year period.
That's so cool, man. I wish
were
Marvel
episodes.
didn't exist so we could do that. Because now that it exists, we can't do shit. We're not going to create our own franchise. I feel like that's kind of how it works. Am I wrong in thinking that? Like, that's a monopoly on the comic book gig. It's something that they came up. They didn't make up comics, but kind of in a way they made up their own market for it. And if you're not on either side of the ladder, no one gives a fuck. Like, is there a third or fourth or whatever you would call it, fifth party comic book that comes out?
I mean, there's the indies. I mean, it's always good to support the indies. Some Adrian Tomei. But now you're kind of thinking along the lines of my level where the on-screen film depiction of these famous comic book characters can only kind of happen once in cinema. Like, the great thing about superheroes in comic books is they're constantly stuck in a second act. You tell their origin story, and then you constantly put them through adventures and adventures until you reboot the series, give it to another writer, and have them tell their side of it. There's never a third act. They never get to die. But Robert Downey Jr. is becoming an old man. He can't play Iron Man forever. Subsequently, you can't, until they unfreeze Walt Disney and give every person on film the same formula they gave him to keep them young forever. You can't have them continuously play these characters. So what next for the Marvel Cinematic Universe, I mean, it's kind of crazy to think about.
They're already not going to use Hugh Jackman anymore as Wolverine, right?
Yeah,
I mean, even though
and
it's
they
not
legit
MCU, but I mean,
killed him, which is crazy because you're not killing Wolverine in the comics, but Hugh Jackman is done with the character. Kill the character, Kind of strange.
I feel like you were drawing some conclusions in that movie. I know how upset you were at the end. I was upset at the end for a different reason. There was something that was very wrong with the recording on camera. Like, you could see it while watching the movie, and no one seemed to care but me.
What do you mean?
There's like this scene, like right where Wolverine goes and like meets up with everybody after he'd taken, I don't know if it was after he'd taken all the drugs. It might have been, but like,
yeah, the specifically my beef with it was the drug scene. But go on.
It's like X-23 was like waiting. She was like, he told her that he was going to go in the middle and she'd know when to move. And so she was like hiding behind some cars and shit like that from the bad guys. And clearly right behind her was a car with a bunch of bad guys in it, on it, around it. And they didn't seem to notice her at all. I don't know what angle they were looking at, but it was clearly right in front of them was this little girl they were looking for. But it's like, oh, there's Wolverine. I was like, there's X-23, bitch. She's more scary. Have you seen this movie? You watching the same movie as me? I fucking love that movie. She's scary as fuck, dude.
Yeah.
That scene when she comes out and has that dude's head in her hands.
Yeah, and this is just me coming from the comic book background, but I feel like a lot of her origin was so rushed. Or rather, they only showed it through well put together flashback sequences of that lady who recorded what was going on in X-23's training institution.
This is my Snapchat, and it's Friday night. We're over
but that whole institution of raising these weaponized children is freaking incredible on some Stranger Things shit, and the whole movie should have focused on that, but I don't make movies.
No, because that's totally background. Like, they do that. I see what you're saying, but I don't agree with it. Like, they did the same thing in the Wolverine movie. It's like, that part of the Wolverine movie where, like, the first one, I think it was the first one where, like, they saved what's her name's sister. What are you doing there?
Sorry, I'm looking at my screen. Whatever.
In the Wolverine movie, where Wolverine went to go save his girlfriend, and then she was trying to save her sister, the Diamond Girl, right? The White Queen, Emma Frost.
Sure, yeah.
There was a
Wait,
bunch of mutants.
which movie is this?
The Wolverine movie.
Like the Wolverine in Japan? That one?
No, man. I think it was the first one where they had Sabretooth. Wasn't that the same movie? I think it was.
No, there were two. There's the Wolverine.
Nigga, I know what the Wolverine was. The first Wolverine movie. Did this not happen? Wolverine, this is before he met that insane version of Deadpool, and they had that fight scene?
You mean
Emma Frost, her sister, like, they made that to be, what's her name? Silver Fox, right?
Yeah, okay, yeah.
And when she rescued her sister, she rescued a bunch of other mutant freaks, and they all ran out, right?
Yes.
So the same thing was happening over there. That's a background scene, dude. They're just showing it just to have, like, something in the background. It's like they're not going to go into it.
Yeah, I get it. But at the same time, that 13-issue run of X-23 was incredible. And I mean, hell, if they want to do another sequel, definitely focus on that.
They are doing a movie, right? The
X-23? I haven't heard of anything.
I just heard of it from word of mouth, though. X-23
movie. In what circles do you run in, son? What do you know about X-23? Someone
told me, hey, man, there's going to be an X-23 movie, and I was like, oh, shit. In fact, I might have talked about it on that podcast. I don't know. Fair I know enough. Like 7 different people. None of them are friends with each other, so it's always different conversations. So I'm pretty popular over here, Trey.
Thor, directed by Kenneth Branagh.
Is that what we're here to talk about? 50 minutes in?
We're going long. It's been a week. We got to come back strong with the content and all that jazz.
Let's talk about it real quick. Let's drop some stuff. Stan Lee, what was his role in this movie, Trey?
Oh, fuck. Okay, hold on. I know this one. Was he in... Nah, he was trying to lift up Thor's hammer.
Yeah, with his truck.
Yep. Yes, he's the guy who had his truck ripped off. Along with, you missed this, J. Michael Straczynski, the writer of the 2007 Thor run. Great 6-issue series.
He was another guy who tried to lift the hammer?
Yeah, I believe. I thought this was. I really enjoyed the entire second act of Thor on Earth, and they
who? Yeah, you motherfucker! All right, I'm sorry. I really enjoyed the later half of the movie when Thor was a god again. Is what.
Gabby, my wife said, "Are we watching the Adventures of Regular Man? Like, what's going on for
my
biggest
for the
problem
with this movie is after he just takes away the power Thor. That's my hammer now. It just pushes him down. You can't hold it. I'm gonna throw it through a different portal. It's gonna land 1 mile that way."
Yeah, a lot of this movie, but I feel like that was the strongest part of the movie. And granted, we're not watching a superhero movie at that point, but Thor on Earth is largely where the best plot development happens. I mean, Natalie Portman as a love interest in this one was way better than the first 3 Star Wars movie with her and Anakin, you know?
I failed to see what you're trying to say here.
Saying that Chris Hemsworth's abs are better than Darth Vader's abs.
Oh, right. Yeah, okay. I was wondering if it was important at all, because it seemed like what you were talking about was blah, 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 on screen. Character support. That's what we should work on. The supporting characters. Those guys in the background, we know you're talking about the crew members. Come on here. Come on,
genuinely didn't like any of that middle. Oh, all right. I'm sorry. We're already
really quick. I just want to drop something. I know it's way off topic, but I saw the Green Lantern movie a couple of years ago for the first time. One of the worst parts about the movie was when he wasn't on scene, and they would just be zoomed in on his girlfriend crying because he flew away to go save the world. And I was like, don't give a fuck. Don't give a fuck.
All right, fair enough. I'll make a more valid defense for that later. But let's start with recapping this, because we tend to go off on tangents like we do, without actually. I'm under the impression that most people have seen every film in the Marvel franchise and have committed it to memory, much like we have. But in going through these last 4 films, I realize I don't remember near as much about it, and that most likely other people aren't as fans like we are. So, real quick.
You know, did you notice any Easter eggs in this movie? Because I didn't all that much.
Yeah, there were quite a few with Coulson. In fact, Coulson is
yeah, that scene. But I mean, it's not the scene where he's in New Mexico. What else?
Like as far as for setting up, what's the next thing?
Well, I just kind of mean hiding shit in the background. Like there's certain Iron Man movies. I think maybe the third one, because we haven't seen it in the first two, where like they show what's his name in the background. That big dragon, Fin Fang Foom. It's just on a billboard. It's like, you know what I mean? It's just like, oh, check it out. Yeah, look, other Marvel stuff.
Well, I mean, this is the introduction to Hawkeye. Like, there's your Easter egg right there.
Okay, all right.
And the adventures of regular man with a bow and arrow this time around.
It's
all right.
regular man.
Thor is cast out of the realm of Asgard by his father.
Hold on. Whoa, you blew past. Doesn't this start with him being cast out? Come on, man. They start.
Quick run. This is for the odd. He's cast out for his arrogance, sent to Earth, banished, has his hammer taken away from him, falls in love with the scientist Jane Foster, played by Natalie Portman, who teaches Thor lessons that he needs to regain his hammer, find new strength, and all that jazz, so that they can stop a giant metallic villain sent by his brother to destroy Thor, who is a mortal on Earth. That is largely what happens in the movie. What were you about to interrupt me with? What happens in the beginning?
It's like, it doesn't just start off with him just being this, he's banished and he's human. Like, he gets to be Thor for a little while. That's the one good thing I like about this movie, is he gets to go for a ride.
He really gets to be Thor, other than the last 20 minutes of the movie.
I didn't get that. You kind of cut out. I'm sorry.
Oh, yeah, that is really the only time he gets... They front-loaded and back-loaded this movie with
it was totally Tarantino'd. John Travolta was like, he was only alive in 2 acts, but it seemed like it was the whole movie. I don't know how that works.
Yeah, why did they go into... crap. I really should look up what realms of... Midgard is Earth. They went to Jotunheim? Is where the Frost Giants are?
Yeah.
Okay.
That's what it's called? Jotunheim?
There's the 9 realms, and they're in chaos after this film. But we're focusing on Asgard, Midgard / Earth, and Jotunheim / Blue People Land.
Yeah,
Frozen
the
Blue
Frost Giants. Okay, so a couple things happened at the beginning. Something was really weird. They go over the story of when he's the movie starts off where these two are kids, but the story they're being told is before they were born. Am I wrong?
Well, in the beginning, Odin is serenading Thor. He's about to make him king of Asgard when there's rumblings in the Odin vault about the Frost Giant sneaking in. So,
before that, he's telling them as they're kids. Like, he's telling them a story as kids, and then they start talking about they're like 10 years old. And
I thought he was just saying that to Loki. I thought that was just a pep talk for Loki.
No, they were both like 10 years old, and like they're both just like, when I'm king, I'm gonna do this, and like they're kind of going back and forth with how they should. Like, it's a classic parental thing. Like, what's his name?
Oh yeah,
Odin's trying to teach
Odin
him, like, okay, well, you want to be ready for war, but don't push war. And you could see that Thor is just a hothead from being a child. That's one thing that I've noticed. Is they're showing you from birth.
Importantly, Odin gives him the worst advice, gives both of them the worst advice ever of both of you were born to rule, but only one of you will get to the throne. But like ensuring that there's always going to be animosity from the start.
Well,
of their 1,000-year relationship.
How else do you say that though?
What?
How do both of you get to both of you can't rule?
Maybe you start with, "Hey Loki, you're adopted."
That's gotta be tough. You ever adopted somebody before, Trey? Do you know how easy it is to tell them that you're not their father?
You gotta break it to them, like, right at the start. And, every now and then when you're angry at them, let them know that
you're
don't
adopted!
Actually love you.
You're not my son!
Yeah.
But I love you anyway.
Just to take away all aspirations of gaining the throne, You won't have to banish people told him if you start with that.
He should have told him that he was like Scar from Lion King. Like, all right, well, you're just kind of like, for some reason, we don't know who you are, but you're not in the same bloodline. You know what I'm saying?
Right. Anthony Hopkins, who plays Odin, how'd you like him? Golly, his voice is perfect for A, narration, and B, every time he gets Odin angry, it's wonderful.
Yeah. No, good call. But no, I honestly I like Chris Hemsworth's Thor. Like I like his voice too. I think he's so easy for this guy to just step into like being a what's it called? God damn it, a Viking. He's basically a Viking, right? Like I think he
Australian,
plays it
yeah.
very well. Shut the fuck. He's supposed to be an Australian from Asgard, but like I don't know. It seems like he fits the role pretty well. Like when Odin's talking to him, do you swear to keep Asgard your number one aspiration? I swear. I swear. And I'm like,
yeah, he's 100% in on the character. And wow, what a tonal shift. And for the audience, we had seen Thor Ragnarok the week before. How did you feel coming into this one after seeing Thor Ragnarok? And yeah, you had already seen Thor prior to seeing Thor Ragnarok, but going back and watching this movie, crazy different, right?
Yeah, that part was the part that was killing me because I like seeing. The thing I like about Thor is we kind of made that comparison before, where when I was younger, I had assumed that Thor was the Marvel's Superman. Honestly, from what I think I know now, I think Superman would fucking destroy Thor because even though he's a god, he can still die. But Thor's fucking insane. He does match Hulk like in certain like base, in comic books and whatnot. He can match him. They're both the same character to me. I'm pretty sure they're both just a fucking super strong meathead. Right?
Thor is crazy arrogant in the beginning of this movie.
They're good at destroying, and that's what they're going to go do. And they're going to find any reason to justify, I'm going to fucking go over there and show him what's going on. Nah, they disrespected us. We don't play that shit. He's just going out there for war, and it's because he's got it. So he's good at it, so he's going to go do that, right? If you were only good at basketball, you would try to convince everyone you knew to play basketball. You'd be like, come on, man, let's play. Just sitting there spinning a ball in your hand. Like, I don't want to play, Trey. You make me look like an idiot. Stop it. I don't want to. Leave me alone. Rape.
And, let's see. I appreciated the Shakespearean gravitas that is implemented in this movie. So it's the classic hero's journey. Like, he starts out as an arrogant douchebag who gets banished, gets all of his toys taken away, and has to mature into a person that's going to become king. This is the difference between him and Hulk. Whereas Hulk is, scientist that turns into a rage monster. Thor is grappling with being the king of Asgard, and has Odin as a father, who isn't the best of father figures.
That's where the problem kind of lies right there. It's like Odin never had to worry about, like, what's it called? Getting an approval from his father. Thor, as king, was banished from Asgard by his father. So it's like, even if he's not doing
But you're not king
Yeah,
yet.
right.
Yeah.
So even if what you're doing you think is right, you're not going to run this kingdom. I'm not going to hand you the king, ship or whatever the fuck you call it until you do what I want. So it's kind of like, what I'm saying?
Learn humility. He just wanted to teach him some humility. That's why he sent the hammer in like an hour after him.
It's the same story of like why Gohan is dope as shit, but he'll never be his father. His father was just like, he didn't have a dad to look up to. He had to be badass. He had to be strong on his own. And it's like, that's why Gohan's a bitch. That's why Goten's a bitch. Like, even though his dad wasn't around, like, it's because they didn't have to. Dude, okay, I know this sounds weird, and this sounds kind of rough, but it's weird to tell someone who grew up with a dad. People who grow up without dads tend to just be tougher overall, or at least guys. Guys that have it, like, they probably function a lot better. They're probably just better off overall, but they're just softer normally.
Yeah, but I don't think the Goku comparison is necessarily accurate because, Goku didn't breathe the world into existence like Odin did.
No, but he still had the answer to
God.
it. Okay, like the whole point of this was like, okay, you say humility, I say he had to show his dad that he was learning lessons. It was like his dad took his car away from him because he was reckless driving, and now he has to go. Well, fine. I still want to go to the store, so I'll walk, and I'm not going to drink and drive and all that. He had to do all this thing. It's like Odin didn't have to do that. So whether he was a bad guy, a good guy, he just did his own thing, and he just chose good. it's different. Like when you
not
have
necessarily, as you'll learn. And in fact, I think even this movie drops shades of Odin being a bit of a douchebag. Definitely in his interactions with his adopted son, and it's kind of rude banishing someone to Midgard after spending the last 1,000 years as a god. But even then, when we make it to Thor Ragnarok and Hela rips off the ceiling and shows that Odin ain't exactly a good guy.
I guess in that situation you're just looking for the least, not the greater good. It's quite the opposite. It's like the least bad. That's who we want to run the country. Like the least bad person we can find. They're all gonna be shit. But like, which one's the closest to zero?
Why were they in I'm already forgetting the name of the frost giant realm. Why did they go there to begin with? Jotunheim.
Because whole hothead Thor was just trying to retaliate because I don't think they went over what that gem was inside there, but like when the frost giants had it, they had all kind of superpower. Odin wanted to take that away from him, so he got it originally.
Okay.
Hold on. Can we go back real quick? Because I don't want to forget about this. There's this scene at the beginning when he's telling those two kids the story about when he lost his eye killing, what's that dude's name? Lafayette?
Luffy.
The guy who's he's still alive, right? That's the guy they went to Jotunheim.
These guys don't die. Yeah. Okay. Luffy is very much still around.
First of all, that's Loki's dad?
Yes, that's what we come to believe.
He was there. Like, he didn't say, hey, what the fuck? That belongs to me. Like, first of all, how long has it been that he forgot what his son looked like?
They really didn't explain the magic behind why Loki isn't blue, and also why he doesn't know he's a frost giant. Because at the time, Loki is a competent wizard. Like, he's the trickster god, and he doesn't know that he's actually a blue frost giant. So that was weird. A bit of a goof or an oversight, I think, on the movie's part.
Even more so, or possibly not. There's someone like, okay, so when he's telling them the story, he goes, yeah, so we had to take this cube and then hide it from him. And one person they show on camera that comes and grabs the cube is dressed up like Loki.
Really?
Like, he has the horn hat and everything.
Oh, that's just garb, yo. That's just how Asgardians rock it. Or
no, like, I swear, it looks like Loki. Like, when he comes out in Avengers 1, it looks just like... And I was just like, oh, well, Loki went and got that shit. And then he's telling the story, and it ends up they're kids while he's telling the story. This must have happened before they were alive, or before they were here. And then the story ended with, and then I found this baby. Or no, he told him that one later. Hold on a second. Yeah, he told him that one later when what's his name was dramatizing where he was from. Do you remember that too? He's like, tell me where I'm from, and he's like, tell me.
Yeah.
What?
Yeah.
Jesus.
That's what I wanted to touch on. Sif in the Warriors 3. I really didn't like in Ragnarok when Hela just shows up and offs 2/3 of the Warriors 3. They kill what is this guy's name?
Fat guy?
They kill Volstagg the fat guy and Fandral the Legolas Robin Hood guy for real quick like. But you gotta remember in this movie, and I think definitely in Thor the Dark World, they're prominent characters behind Thor. Like, a lot has been put into these characters. And granted, they're not, the best. But they put in work on Jotunheim, yo. They were taking out frost giants left and right.
That's true, but like, I don't know, it was hella, man. I don't
True enough.
Like, and that was a third movie, man. They had enough screen time. I was just thinking about something. We were mentioning how weird it was for him to just go back. It just showed up on
Heimdall in the Bifrost. Let's talk about it.
The story is weird, and it's different than I thought it was. I thought the story was Odin went there, killed a lot of people, and fought them back to their homeland. And then everyone died, and there was a baby. That's the story I remember, was he took the baby. He was like, I can't just leave this baby here. He took the baby so he could... You say, hey, one of them lives over here, didn't even know it. You didn't even know it, and now he loves it here. Okay? So so he's basically, so now we're united. Because he's you, but he's us. And now, and boom. And all there is constant struggle of how I don't fit in your fucking family. All these years.
The way I choose to see it is like the Game of Thrones situation with Theon. How Ned Stark went over and wrecked all the Iron Islanders and give me Theon as a gift. I'm raising him here in Winterfell. So that's kind of what Loki is, a glorified prisoner of war.
So now you better stop. Rebuild all your ruins for peace and trust.
We're back. Let's see where I'm at on the movie I'm watching here. They got the Destroyer shown. He's fucking destroying a lot of shit right now. This is where Thor starts to show a little bit of courage, even though he knows he's human. It's kind of funny, right?
What on earth are you talking about? Okay, so we're on Earth, and he hasn't gotten his. Yeah, he spends a lot of this movie not being Thor. He gets banished, and runs into 3 scientists: his girlfriend Jane Foster, Eric Selvig, played by Sarsgaard.
That other girl is not a scientist; she's a student.
Kat Dennings. Kat Dennings is adorable. She reminds me of Aubrey Plaza.
I don't know why people like her.
What else is she in? I keep confusing her with Aubrey Plaza.
40-year-old virgin.
Oh, she is that girl. Aw. I'm gonna look at her IMDb. Are we back in the recording?
Yeah.
Oh, then I should pay attention. All right, so a lot of this, why this takes place in New Mexico. It's a substitute for this 2000. It's a run in the comics that went concurrently with Civil War and a lot of the Superhuman registration. But I think I let you and Pat borrow the series. But it was written by J. Michael Straczynski. It was a really, really good comic run where Ragnarok had already occurred. All the Asgardians were dead. And Thor, Donald Blake, his alter ego, doctor guy, were resurrected on Earth. The only Asgardian. He has to go and find all of his brethren. And he ends up rebuilding Asgard 8 feet above the city of Broxton, Oklahoma, and hilarity ensues with him and the town folks because it's the classic fish out of water story of him being an Asgardian space god in the middle of podunk America.
Well, can we go into something real quick? One thing, I know more about Thor now than I ever have, obviously, I guess, but I've also never really read a lot of the comics, so it's really just what I've been seeing on the screens. And when I used to see him show up in other people's like cartoon shows, he had like a human alter ego where I thought he was a doctor with like a cane.
Yes, his origin, it's kind of wonky, but he starts out as this Dr. Donald Blake is hiking in the forest, finds a stick, taps it on the ground, boom, transported, or not transported, just Sailor Moon style becomes the god of thunder.
That's how it started, originally?
Yeah.
And then
the character of Donald Blake has been reimagined in a few different ways. He's not really much to the Thor comic for adaptation. They don't really talk to him much. He doesn't contribute because it's hard to maintain a day job and be the god of thunder. But he's not really important to the point where the film just kind of glosses over it and makes that little name tag sequence. Natalie Portman gives him the shirt.
That's what that was saying.
Deal.
Oh, she said it was her ex-boyfriend. Oh, yeah, did not notice that.
Yeah, so that was just a little nod to the comic, but you don't really need Donald Blake as a stand-in because it's not Clark Kent. He's not doing journalism. I'm not even sure if he's like a surgeon.
That's oh god, I hate that. That's why I hate Superman in comparison, because at least Thor's like Thor's just like, I'm a god. I'm not going to act like I'm anything less. Why would I? Superman's like, I'm gonna work at this fucking. Where does he work at? Like a paper or some shit like that.
The Daily Planet, man.
Oh, so you know.
The most iconic journalistic institution in comic books next to the Daily Bugle.
No, I know mine's Bugle is higher. I didn't watch I did see the last Superman. Let's fucking stay on point.
Man of Steel,
Over
they
here.
destroyed the Daily Planet. You've seen all the cartoons. Shame on you.
No, I've never watched Superman cartoons.
Okay. Well, it's the
No.
one Lois Lane works for.
No, when I say cartoons, nigga, I haven't ventured off into DC. It's just been Batman and then Justice League, because why the fuck not? It's the team of superheroes. Fuck Superman. He's one of the most boring characters.
Yeah, it's hard to tell a story about a god.
I've never seen any of the movies other than like the one that, they made like 6 years ago. The last one, yeah. Where Kevin Costner. That was the only one I've seen. I never saw the other one. I never gave a fuck. I never watched the show. I never watched whatever that WB show was.
Well, nonetheless, the Daily Planet still remains iconic.
Nope. How could it?
Not even a little.
How could it?
All right, so he shows up in a big old lightning storm through the Bifrost, gets hit by a car, and taken to the hospital. Right? Is that what happens?
Yeah.
And at this point
You could tell he's human, because I think if normally they tried to put a needle in Thor, it would break.
yeah, and also a car wouldn't knock him unconscious. And at this point in the Marvel Cinematic Universe, magic has not been established, and you can tell all throughout this movie how tentative they are about using the term magic. Like even one of the first things out of Natalie Portman's mouth to Eric Selvig, the scientist, is like magic is just science that we don't understand yet.
Yeah.
And then there's another sequence somewhere in the middle of the movie where Thor is explaining to Jane Foster the how the Bifrost works, and you guys call it magic, or science and magic are one and the same where I'm from, all that jazz. So you can see them trying to ease magic in, and until we get to Doctor Strange or it's definitely not Captain America. Captain America is a bit of a return to
100% science.
Yeah. So, in fact, you almost get the impression that there have been no movies ever based on magic, and that they're treading new ground entirely.
Well, that's why I kind of like the idea. Like when I saw the Easter egg of Thor and Doctor Strange, I was like, "Well, this is gonna be fucking awesome," and it was just kind of funny, and it took like 20 seconds. It was very short. His run-in with Doctor Strange, I thought it was cool, but I also thought that they showed it beforehand, and it kind of ruined it.
In the trailers? Yeah. I mean, but not the entirety of the sequence. You didn't get that whole Loki bit. And even then, all that needed to show was how competent Doctor Strange was at being a master magician at this point. And for that, it paid off well. And you could see by Ragnarok how well the groundwork has been laid for magical aspects or elements in the Marvel Cinematic Universe, largely due to this film, because as we were talking a little bit about the tone of this movie and how it's so much different from Ragnarok, how it plays out like a Shakespearean drama more than it does a celestial comedy. The juxtaposition between the two. But how did you like his time on Earth as the adventures of Regular Man? Because this is one of my favorite parts in the movie, getting to see him like in the restaurant smashing the coffee cup on the ground. I love this beverage. What's it called? Another, and he throws it down.
He's just acting like he would any normal place, like where it's okay to be a fucking big ass Viking drunk.
Gratitude is different in other places, yo. But you were what, immediately tired of this?
No, not immediately. Just from the accumulation of it happening over all the movies, because I feel like this is kind of what set up the fucking I wish I had better words to describe it. The weird pile of shit that I think Ant-Man was, because I feel like maybe it's just like, maybe if we took all the funny parts in a movie and just threw them in one movie, or what we think is funny and threw them in a movie, and just laid it out on there and threw Ant-Man's story in there, how will it turn out? And it's like, it's weird how I don't hate any of your movies but this one, and it's like a series of, oh man, I like these. These are pretty good. Like, the action's pretty good. I don't have much to complain about. I've seen that movie once.
Huh.
And this Thor, this might be my third time watching Thor. Not gonna lie, I haven't seen it too much, but I mean, it wasn't my favorite. I like the idea of Thor, but I probably had the same impression I have now, which was that middle scene where he was kind of regular man was just, if I didn't gain any just hilarity from the entertainment of him just being a, big strong guy, it was kind of just like, all right, come on, let me see that Thor. Come on.
So
the part where he didn't
appreciate...
pick up the hammer, oh man, was I mad. I thought he'd done enough time. Are you kidding me? Are you kidding me? Do you see what he did to get that hammer? Give him the fucking hammer.
But nothing yet. He literally just went to look for it. He tried to buy like a horse from a pet clinic to go and retrieve
past,
his
like,
hammer.
Hawkeye's defense system,
No, all he did was like jump kick a dude in slow motion in the rain and then ran up to his hammer. He didn't learn any valuable lessons.
But
he literally had to die to
was
get his hammer back.
I don't like the concept of he took away Thor and then Thor couldn't pick up the hammer, because it's like, okay, so now you're rebuilding the story that I thought I knew before. You gave him this hammer, yes, and it only works for him, yes. Without his hammer, he is still Thor. No, that's not true.
Whoa.
I'm taking
Anthony
away
Hopkins
his power.
said, as he banished him, he who is worthy shall wield the power of Thor.
He who is worthy of the hammer shall wield the power of Thor. So you took away the power of Thor and gave it to the hammer, and now he's clearly not just human, because he didn't die from getting hit every time, but mortal. So you took away your son's power to be a god. I'm not understanding what's happening here. You didn't give him the power. You didn't it's not like how Galactus created Silver Surfer. And then he's like, you know what, fucking you attack me with my own power, son of a bitch. I removed the power of me. Like, you can't undo your seed like that. It doesn't work like that.
I kind of see what you're saying, but I feel like the element of who gets to lift the hammer has remained consistent. It's a person of virtue and blah, 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 all the things you need.
Well, you would think a lot of Avengers would pass that. And it looked like, spoiler alert, it looked like Captain America might be one of those people. But is he going to pick up that hammer and have the power of Thor, and Thor's just going to be a dude standing around like Tony Stark without any computer technology in front of him?
It's a little wishy on if you gain all the powers of an Asgardian. I think you just able to pick up the hammer.
He just all of a sudden just steals the power of Juggernaut. Hey, whoa, what the fuck?
Yeah, no, I don't think it works like that, because there was a crossover issue where when Marvel fights DC, and Wonder Woman was able to wield Thor's hammer for a bit because she is a virtuous person and all that jazz. but yeah. So what? You thought that the entire scene on Midgard on Earth was nothing but a jail sentence?
It's
you
hard
thought it was a dry slog?
This is an origin story, and we're trying to gauge what's going on with Thor. Well, I'm trying to gauge how strong and durable this motherfucker is, and like a lot of the movie, he doesn't have the power. He doesn't have the power of Thor, and it's attached to the hammer, which also, is also not in a lot of the movie. So it's like, what is he then if he's not just, so you're saying... You're literally saying, so you have to be worthy of me, God, to wield this hammer? And it's like, come on, dude. What is this guy? He's just, it doesn't, okay, so you said it earlier. What is in Thor what makes him worthy of holding the hammer?
Son of Odin, wants to claim the throne to do virtuous shit, like defend it from the frost giants.
Okay, right? That's not specific, but that's not what it wants. That can't be what it wants. I thought it's kind of like the Green Lantern thing, where it's like, are you worthy of this ring? I'll go to the next worthy one, right? And if you're worthy of the hammer, you can do this. So there's times where this guy is not worthy and he is worthy. Is he like Spider-Man, where his powers just go away?
So you're pointing at the inconsistency, and I can kind of see it, but I feel like
did he take away his power when he removed those things off his arms? Those whatever they're called, those like the metal,
mail.
Yeah, the chain mail, whatever.
That went away. I felt like he learned the lessons needed throughout his, like, especially after he tries to pick up the hammer and can't do it. He's all sullen and whatnot, and he's reacquainted with the Warriors 3 after they go and try to find him. That he's a changed man, and he's trying to do right, especially when the Destroyer comes along to save the town folk from evil.
Yeah.
That jazz.
How about this? I think I read something online which kind of gave me this thought. So it's not an original thought on my end, but someone was saying like how much of an asshole move was it of Odin to drop the hammer, or I guess not just drop the hammer on Earth, but to make him not be able to pick it up. And I was just like, so maybe you're saying he threw him on Earth to make him learn a lesson, and he's like, okay, don't worry, you're meant to be here. Look, your hammer's not far. It's right over here. It's kind of like a training wheels kind of exercise. Like,
exactly.
Because the words he used to banish him, like, it was like, he wasn't just mad at his son. Like, he was like, God damn it.
You're unworthy of your title.
Mother, she's not allowed to look at you anymore. I don't want to ever see you.
Yeah, Anthony Hopkins was good in this.
He
was so upset.
Do you think, what's his name, pushed him a little bit to get there?
I mean, he just had to learn how to be humble, because he lacked all humility in every aspect. So he had to go through the trials and tribulations and Natalie Portman to get back to being a good person. It was that scene in the bar with Selvig. Crap. Let me see if I can find some kind of dialogue from it. Nothing. Sorry. But yeah, that scene in the bar where he's talking to Selvig about just how he thought he was better than this. Turns out he isn't, and Selvig dispenses some advice on him. They get drunk, they have a fight, he made his ancestor proud, all that shit. And yeah, that's when you could see him turning around as a character into something less obnoxious.
That's a good point. I suppose.
You're really not buying it. You don't like any of Thor on Earth.
I don't care about that part of the movie. Like this character's development. Like, nah, it's Thor. I get it. He's a god. He's not going to think like we do. He's going to be,
Okay. Well, they do offset it with cutting back and forth to Asgard and Loki scheming to acquire the throne. Were you more along the lines of enjoying watching Tom Hiddleston scheme it the fuck up?
He wasn't all that cool on screen, now that I'm thinking about it. I think he's in this fight scene right now in the back of what I'm watching, and they're on that, what's the Bifrost? Is that bridge?
The Rainbow Bridge.
The Rainbow Bridge. They're like right there, and which seems kind of weird because like he's threatening to throw Thor off, and I think he can fly, so I don't think that'd be a problem. But like,
yeah, they really need to put guardrails on that thing. They've fallen off that in all 3 movies. Someone should invest in like some sidewalks.
It's Rainbow Road, bro.
Man.
I'm like, no, everything I liked about this movie was watching Thor on camera. I mean, the story, was pretty good. I'm not hating on it. I'm just saying anything I was super awesome about this movie was that part. I'm not really. Loki's kind of cool, here and there. I can't think of anything super cool at the moment that he did.
His character has consistently been depicted as pretty complicated. I mean, he's not a straight-up bad guy. He is definitely worse than Hitler, but he's not really a bad guy,
He seems to be growing to be Vegeta to Goku, right? And he's like, I'll kill you one day, but, like, we're a team, and until then...
Not necessarily. God of mischief. He's just trying to sew up chaos, but you can tell in his attitude towards like Jane Foster, for instance, the scene that you're looking at a little bit before this, when he's about to, I guess, what is Loki trying to do with the Bifrost? Is he trying to destroy Earth? I don't think so. But either way, he's talking to Thor, and it comes out that Thor cares about the mortal realm. And Loki just does not. Loki does not give a shit about humans. He thinks they're all beneath him. And which he is wont to do because he is in fact a god, an immortal. So he's wondering why, genuinely wondering why his brother would care about them in the slightest.
Well, I mean, are the frost giants gods? Like, is everybody in that realm a god?
Well, they seem to be immortal. I mean, if that's the prerequisite, then why not?
No, I thought they slayed a bunch of them. I thought that's just
Okay. Immortal in the sense that if you don't bother them, they will live forever.
Is that what that means? I really don't understand. Like, because like Thor's immortal, right? But I mean, he can die, right?
But not invincible. He can still be destroyed.
So there's no such thing as natural causes. How'd he die? What do you mean he's dead?
Yes.
Who killed him?
And even them, I believe, like their spiritual energy is reformed in Valhalla type thing.
What is
The
that?
Asgardian afterlife. Valhalla is just a Asgard heaven.
So is it like Dragon Ball Z, where they can like come back and make visits and shit, and halos on their head, and have second life, and if you kill that life, you die for real, for real?
Yeah, we'll call it that for in the name of simplicity. But yeah, essentially,
Was that
yeah.
not what? That's pretty much what happened in Dragon Ball Z, though, right?
Yeah, minus the halos. You get to
Look, motherfucker, you see this? This means this is my last life. You understand? Make a wish. Where's the dragon? Oh. Damn it, this movie keeps ending. I keep forgetting the whole fucking... Who was the, like... Was there an end fight scene? Was it just Loki versus Thor?
No. So I guess the Destroyer is meant to guard the Odin vaults, and Loki uses them Loki uses the Destroyer, sends it down to Earth to go kill his brother? I'm not sure. It really seems like he wants to kill Thor, but not that much. You know?
Yeah.
So, in whatever
Total
capacity,
Vegeta story, by the way.
Yeah. In whatever capacity, the Destroyer ends up on Earth, and that's how Thor regains his worthiness by getting backhanded to death, and on his dying breath, calls Mjolnir, and gets his powers and hammer back.
He says it really weird at the beginning of the movie, and that one chick starts making fun of him for it. I'd have been like, yo, bitch. Mjolnir. You understand?
I mean, they could buy a vowel. It's a lot of consonants.
Oh, anything else you want to talk about?
I mean, not really. I think we covered it, man. I
You
think
like
we're there.
Do you like the Loki costume?
Oh, I guess we could talk about set design. I really appreciated all the artwork that artwork I guess is wrong, but the costume design, the city of Asgard itself, like the musical score in this is a lot better than every other Marvel movie, but yeah, I mean on the whole it looks incredible, you know?
Yeah.
When they're not in New Mexico.
Yeah.
Tie-ins. Coulson? Shield? What was the post-credits scene?
Well, let's find out. Do. I'm going to fast forward at like 20 seconds at a time. I remember them not getting good until like it seems like about Avengers time. Not all that awesome.
Scratch that. I remember it's Selvig, the Doctor, who is under Loki's control. Not really established at this point, but Samuel L. Jackson shows him a glowing object in a suitcase, a la what's that Tarantino movie? Come on, the best one. Come on, he's Jules.
I'm totally watching. Let me watch it.
You're hurting my heart, kid. It's
There's
the
only
Tim
one
Roth.
of them too, huh?
You can't have what's in the suitcase. Pulp Fiction, yes. And Selvig says, "Well, that's worth taking a look at."
Yeah, I see him. It's dark in this. It looks like there's no lights on at all.
Yeah, it's the Tesseract, yo. It's a spoiler for the Tesseract.
See, yeah, Oh shit. Okay. All right. So we got Samuel L. Jackson. He'll get you drunk.
It's a good motherfucking beer.
You'll be fucking fat girls in no time.
Rest in peace, Chappelle Show.
Love that show. All right. So you're saying Loki has control. Oh yeah. So what is that all about? Yeah, he's in that mirror. Is that what that means?
Well, you find out that the Mind Stone, one of the Infinity Stones, is in Loki's staff, but you don't find out in this movie. So there's really no precedent for Loki being able to control the mind of the Doctor. But
oh, you know what?
Regardless,
is the Eye of Agamotto in this movie? Did you see that?
No, that doesn't show up until Strange. When they're
Are
really
you sure?
Yeah, no, positive. All of the stones
Okay.
except for the Soul Stone are accounted for at this point.
Do you remember where he got the eye? Is it just sitting there? I mean, as much as I like that movie, I don't remember where he got it. I thought he went and took it from somewhere.
No, it was in the vault, I guess. It's one of the things that they were guarding in the training facility of wherever monk Buddhist temple
God
they
damn
were.
it! I don't want to spend my time doing this, but I might have to. There's when they go over like a bunch of like an area where you would see like Infinity Stones, where you see that blue cube and shit. You see something that looks like it would be an eye. It's actually moving.
Eh?
Yeah, I'm gonna.
In this movie?
Yes,
Bullshit.
I think so.
Yeah, no, not even a little bit.
I don't know.
It's not even in America, son. That shit is somewhere off in a mountain in Tibet.
No,
Yeah,
I mean in Asgard. While you're in Asgard, I'm talking about.
Oh, in the Odin vault. Yeah, none of that is. In fact, in Ragnarok, they kind of retconned why the Infinity Gauntlet is even in there. Hela calls it a fake and pushes it over.
Well, the gauntlet, I don't see it in here. I mean, it's in there at that movie, but I don't see it in here.
Yeah, it's in this movie with all the Infinity Stones in it.
It's in the third movie with all the Infinity Stones in it. Not in this one.
Oh, yeah, in this one, when they're
Is
walking
it?
through the halls. I'm pretty sure. I could also be lying to you, but I'm pretty sure.
You might be mixing that up. I remember what you're talking about, but I'm gonna. Oh man, I don't want to take too long doing this because they don't have a lot of scenes where they're in the vault. I swear. Let's see. Maybe when after this they go and talk in the vault or some shit like that.
Man, this makes for great audio.
I know.
You know?
Okay, wait. I found the scene. All right. So these two guards coming over here. Got this. Ooh, yeah. What is that? Can you see my TV? Because I'm not getting that image of me. Can you see it? You see it?
Yeah.
You see it? How
I
does it
mean-
look? Try to describe to the audience what you're seeing here. You got a vault, two guys walking by. This looks like where you would keep some shit. Odin vault, what it seems like. There's that blue cube they got from the Frost Giants. What's that? It looks like an eye, right?
Yeah,
It's shaped like an eye.
It looks Norsey. It looks
It's got a
Norsey.
pupil. It even looks like it's moving right there. It's looking at them.
I mean, I'm not willing to call it the Eye of Agamotto, but it's an eye-like thing.
You think they
Odin
were
has a lot
referencing
of
that?
treasure,
It
son.
could have been, okay,
He
it could have been a
raided
fake like
and
you were talking
conquered
about.
9 realms. He's allowed to have
look.
things no one understands.
Just saying. I assumed that was an Easter egg beforehand. I don't know. Maybe they changed the way it looked in a different movie. Who
Not
knows? I don't
Not
know.
even- All right, so you seem largely over Thor on Earth. You didn't get any intrigue out of the Natalie Portman character, because
No.
I got
No.
sad news for you when it comes to Dark World. She's a large part of it.
Yeah, I wasn't too in love with that movie either.
Damn.
I say either. No, I did like this movie. I really I need to get better at my job because I watched this movie like a week ago and I'm not too fresh on what everything happened. Like,
You said job
scene
like
for
we have
scene.
advertisement money.
Right? When did you watch this movie?
Well, years ago when it came out, and twice for this.
Twice.
So-
Oh, I only watched it once. Yeah, see.
Look at me doing homework.
Doing the homework. Should have watched it a second time, but I couldn't get my girl to watch it in time to do this second one, so I only saw it alone.
Aww.
But yeah. So you wanted to talk about holiday shopping, I see.
Ugh, you got that on the notes? Nah, man. We got it. Justice League, all that. In fact, I'm willing to ask you what your social media accounts are so that we can wrap this show pony up, son.
That's perfect.
We're damn near 2 hours.
Exactly. Exactamundo. I don't know. It's always the same as normal, Trey. It's J Parimal 86 at YouTube. I got everything attached to my Facebook account, which is Z3R0414 at hotmail.com. Or you'd probably find me just by J Parimal. Everything's attached there. The Twitter, the YouTube. Is It Just Me podcast is on iTunes. And
is it really? Is it really?
That one is. This one will be on iTunes soon. We finally got an image together.
Yes.
So we're going to be looking so dope. What? I think we talked earlier about what we need to fix, a summary or something like that. I don't know. We'll talk about that, but
in-house. All right.
Badoo-ba-da, badoo-ba-da-badoo. Yeah. So what's the next one we're gonna do?
Talking about Captain America.
Captain America.
I know that is your least favorite.
Isn't there a subtitle for it, like the original soldier or something?
The first Avenger.
First Avenger. He was avenging before anybody knew how.
And I can tell you're going to hate it, so I will try to...
It wasn't fair, though, because he was from the past.
No, this takes place largely in this... Ooh, World War II. I'm not even going to try to do dates.
Right? Yeah, he was avenging before anyone else had any superpowers, so don't be so awesome high and mighty there, okay? No one else was a fucking freak but you.
Man, the power of steroids. That's the first superhero.
Yeah. Let's talk about it next time.
All
Captain
right.
America. Let's shoot for 2 weeks, dude. Let's be real about this. I'm gonna go see Homeboy Pat and whatnot next week. So yeah, it's not gonna happen.
Tell the kid I said hi.
All
right.
All right.
Take care.
Bye.
Always sweet when touching on. I only know when these are
Thanksgiving is right around the corner. I suggest a honey baked ham